Welcome to the International Short Course in Advanced Physics being conducted by KJ Somaya College of Science and Commerce. I am Dr. Puneet Kumar from the Department of Physics, University of Lucknow, and you have already attended two of my modules on future of plasma physics. This is the third one dealing with plasma medicine. And the third module has been divided into two. The first part is plasma for medicine, and the second plasma part is the plasma in medicine. The first part deals with the plasma appliances and the plasma sources that we use in the medicine purposes. And the second part deals with the application for the clinical part. This part, that is the first part of the third module, the outlines are we will be talking of the challenges, the approaches, the cold plasma we have already talked of, but we will be having a quick revision of it, the approaches, and the plasma sources. The advancement of medical sciences have made the made elements less painful. Be it the pathology, be it the biochemistry, let it be the surgery, the robotic surgery, and the diagnostic tools and the imaging tools. Some of the present day challenges are one of the major challenges is the oral cancer, and which is among the top three cancers in India. And about 6 lakhs cases occurs every year, and the problems are the frequent relapse and severe prognosis. The second problem which we quietly come across quite often is the diabetes, and the resultant is the diabetic foot, whose origin is peripheral neuropathy. And the consequences are the impairment of nerves, food hydration is reduced, and the preventive solutions have daily feet examination and wearing appropriate shoes. So we start with the cold plasma. We have already studied what is cold plasma. So basically, there's a solid thermal energy to it, it becomes a liquid. And again, you give thermal energy, it becomes a gas. And on sufficient more energy, it becomes a plasma. So basically, cold plasma is a weakly ionized gas at atmospheric pressure, and the components of the plasma, the electron, ion, and the atom, neutral atoms, are at different temperatures. Like I talked about the fluorescent bulb in the previous module, the electrons are quite at high temperatures, and the ion and the atoms are at nearly at the room temperature. There are different kinds of cold forms of cold plasma available to us. The UV radiation, the visible light, the electromagnetic fields, the heat radiation, the reactive species, and the ions plus electrons plasma. So basically, plasma medicine is a combination of different branch of sciences, starting from plasma science, life sciences, clinical physics, and clinical physics. When these all four combine, the unified knowledge produces what we call plasma medicine. So history starts with the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition at Chicago, where it was demonstrated that the electric discharge can be used to tackle various skin ailments. This kind of a machine was used for it, and it gradually improved, and electric cauterization came into being, where we directly applied the electric discharge to the skin. Of course, it was very painful and having more side effects. Gradually, the science progressed, and in 1996, these the plasma treatment started. So that was the first sterilization of contaminated medium with an atmospheric plasma was carried out in 1996. And the disinfection of for wound healing, it was applied in 1997. And gradually the science progressed, and the it was used for the treatment of cancer and various other tissue treatments and all. So the plasma influences it is specific detachment of cells from matrices as well as from cell clusters, cell migration, cell proliferation and angiogenesis, expression of cell surface proteins, cell adhesion molecules, DNA integrity, apoptosis induction, reversible cell membrane permeabilization, blood coagulation by direct influence on the coagulation cascade. The apparatus we have are the plasma needle, the atmospheric pressure plasma plume, atmospheric pressure plasma jet, plasma brush, floating electrodes, the microwave plasma torch, plasma jets, dielectric barrier discharges, nanosecond plasma gun. All these can be grouped into three broadly ones: barrier discharges, the plasma jets, and corona discharges. You can see the different kinds of these apparatus, the result of these kinds of apparatus. We have different kinds of plasma. And the target approaches, we are having three based on the distance from the target to the source of plasma. First one is the indirect approach. The indirect use of plasma-based or plasma-supplemented techniques to treat surfaces, materials or devices to realize specific qualities for subsequent special medical applications. The plasma is generated between two electrodes within a device and afterwards is transported to the target area either by a carrier gas or via bioinfused. The use of a carrier gas allows modification of the plasma generated reactive species and can be used to obtain certain plasma compositions for specific applications. That means we are not directly exposing the plasma to the target, it is through a carrier gas. And by changing the properties of the carrier gas, we can achieve many more modifications. The indirect plasma drives vary from this thin plasma needles, jets, and multiple jet application to large size plasma torches. And the application size is very flexible. The disadvantages are that it is less controllable and concentrations of plasma generated species are normally lower than the direct barrier discharges. And you can see there is a simple plasma needle. And this needle is this is a simple needle. It is being and it is exposed directly to the bacteria sample. This needle is connected to a tube which is connected to the argon gas. The gas flows in this tube, and this is a meter to control the flow of the gas. And there is a high voltage power supply which produces an electric discharge and the electrode at the tip of the needle. And when this argon gas comes into that electric discharge, it ionizes and a plasma is created on the tip of the needle when the bacteria sample is directly exposed to the plasma generated. Second is the direct approach, the application of physical plasma on or within the human body to realize therapeutic effects based on direct interaction of plasma with the living tissue. One further advantage of these direct plasma technologies is plasma composition can be controlled more easily than for other sources. One limitation of this technology is the need for a more or less constant distance to the treatment area. Only the use of relatively small treatment area can solve this distance problem. Since a constant distance to the human body is not always given owing to its natural curves and folds, the created current, which for dielectric barrier discharges has to pass through the target area, for example, the human tissue, must be monitored carefully as a strict safety limit should not be exceeded. Current can also create a desired effect in the target area and may not necessarily be a limitation, such for inotrophoresis in medical use. Third one is the hybrid approach, which is combination of the direct and indirect approaches. As an example, the so-called SMD technology is one such hybrid plasma technology that creates a plasma via a multitude of nano and micro discharges on a grounded wire mesh electrode. The grounded wire mesh electrode produces this kind of a plasma, and it is directly exposed through a torch. Now, the plasma sources. The first one is the corona discharge. The plasma creates a lightning crown around the wire That is why this discharge is called corona. It's highly efficient, low investment and operation cost, but it has an audible noise, a power loss, and insulation damage of devices. You can see it's quite simple, similar to the plasma, the needle that I talked previously. The second is the microwave induced plasma, which is having a frequency of 300 megahertz to 10 gigahertz. Commonly used wavelength is 12.24 centimeter, corresponding to a frequency of 2.45 gigahertz. Range from a few watt up to several hundreds of kilowatts. The discharge pressure might range from less than 10 or 2 pascals up to several times the atmospheric pressure, whereas many different discharges gases might be used. The advantages are the wide range of operational conditions and high chemical reactivity. This is a schematic diagram of the device where a waveguide is being used to guide the beam. The third one is the gliding arc plasma, the two electrodes diverging with respect to each other. These are the diverging electrodes are placed in the fast, typically gas or vapor flow. Application of high voltage between these two electrodes create a specific unstable discharges between the electrodes. The discharges start at the spot where the distance between the two electrodes is the shortest and spreads by gliding along the electrodes in the flow direction until they disappear after a certain path to repeat the cycle. The advantages are the simplicity and the low cost. Next is the direct barrier discharge. It is a parallel plane geometry with an electrode consisting of an aluminum plate at ground and the AC electrode voltage is connected. And Teflon is the commonly used dielectric for it. Like you can see, the plasma is created like a sandwich between the dielectric surfaces which are connected to the high voltage electrodes. The advantages are high efficiency and cost effective. Conclusion from this is the cold atmospheric pressure plasma are investigated as an innovative approach. These plasmas are weakly ionized, characterized by several properties. Mostly they are generated using direct barrier discharge devices in particular plasma jets, and they can be utilized approaching the direct, indirect, and the hybrid approach. So we end our this sub-module here, and in the next module we'll be talking about the applications of these barrier discharges and the plasma needle plasma directly to the human body. The interaction of these plasmas with the human body and what we can achieve from it. So thank you. Thanks for the patient listening.